Meanwhile, a whistleblower goes public about what's really going on inside the Veterans Affairs Administration.
I think this is where VA really just expects the public to be stupid and believe the lies that they're telling.
Well, shortly after that interview with Neil Cavuto right here on Fox, that VA whistleblower was asked via email to attend an administrative meeting to sign a notice that he wouldn't talk in public anymore. When he declined, the VA told him, quote, "Mr. Davis, with all due respect, the notification that was sent to you and your representative to appear before the Administrative Investigation Board was not an invitation to which you can decline." What did they want him to sign and why the threatening note? That whistleblower, Scott Davis, appears on television again. Good morning to you. He's in Atlanta.
Good morning, Steve.
Okay, so it was 8 minutes after you left the air with Neil Cavuto that you got the email where they said, you got to come talk to us. What were they trying to do to you?
They were trying to shut me up and trying to silence me from discussing the fact that 47,000 veterans died while waiting to get their health care applications processed, and that 890,000 veteran applications for health care have never been processed by the Department of Veterans Affairs.
And what you did was you said, because I, back in January, already filed for whistleblower protection status, I don't have to come. Exactly. Because what they were doing was they were saying, because this is an open investigation and now you're part of it, you can't go blabbing Neil Cavuto or Steve Ducey or anybody else what's going on at the VA, right?
Exactly. They freaked out because I was on Fox News, and what they tried to do is say, well, Mr. Davis, we're going to have an investigation and you have to participate in our investigation. Unfortunately, this came after I had already spoke with the Inspector General's office, after I had already contacted the White House. By the way, that White House whistleblower complaint got leaked to my supervisor, and after I testified before Congress. So I've testified before Congress in public, and now they're telling me you can't talk to people anymore because we're having an investigation.
What do you mean somebody at the White House leaked your whistleblower complaint to your supervisor? That's against the law.
It is against the law. Unfortunately, no one will step up to the plate at VA or the White House and admit who gave the whistleblower complaint to my manager here in Atlanta. Now, I, as a United States citizen, have the right to petition the government, including the office of the president, about violations and mistreatment of our nation's veterans. Unfortunately, that complaint, which was given to White House Deputy Chief of Staff Rob Neighbors, somehow made its way back to Atlanta, where my manager was able to retaliate against me.
In what way?
Well, they actually changed my job description, changed my hours of operation, and changed my reporting structure. Now, in my current role, I work with veterans, I participated in outreach activities, and tried to promote health care awareness about VA health programs. So they went back and said, well, you can't talk to anyone. You're not going to communicate anymore. And just like they wanted to shut me up for talking to Neil Cavuto, they wanted to shut me up from being able to talk to veterans.
Well, you're here telling us today, you know, it hit the fan a couple of months ago. People think, well, we haven't heard anything. They must be fixing it. You're here today. Are they fixing it?
They're not, Stephen. Thank you for asking the question. Now, instead of them actually, and I have some brochures for where VA tried to promote the Affordable Care Act, instead of educating the veterans about the problem and the backlog with the pending applications, they're not doing anything. They're just going to send a letter. Now, they spent over $10 million promoting the Affordable Care Act, and yet they will spend no dollars educating veterans about how to deal with the problems with the enrollment system and the online application problem if your application for health care ends up in a pending backlog. And here's the shocking part, Steve. The man, Philip Matkovsky, who's over this area of VA, who's over Health Administrative Services for VA, got a temporary promotion during this entire scandal. And you would think that the president knowing about this issue, the secretary of VA knowing about this issue, they would ask Philip Matkovsky for his resignation instead of offering him a temporary promotion.
Well, you would think so. Scott Davis, you are a brave man for standing up to the VA.
Thank you.
And to the White House as well, and telling us what's going on. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Thanks for your service, telling us what's going on.
Thank you, Steve.